Sharky Buns!
Welcome everyone to the first installment of the Warzone Strategy Bible. My name is Sharky Buns, and in this series of videos we're going to cover everything from engagement strategies, rotation techniques, killer loadout builds, to competitive controller or button layouts. This strategy bible is for every skill level, from novice to advanced, and only contains the strategies that have been tried, tested, and are the most substantial strategies to get that edge over your opponent and secure them dubs. In this episode of the Warzone Strategy Bible, we're going over the competitive button layout and controller settings. With these button presets and settings, it minimizes the time your thumbs are away from the joysticks and maximizes your mobility, allowing you to loot and drop faster, drop shot opponents with ease, and rack up them kills. Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do is open up your Call of Duty application or start your game. And once you're in this main title screen, go ahead and push the start button or go to options. In options, you want to scroll on over to your controller settings, and in your controller settings, the first thing we're going to change is your button layout preset. Now, I'm playing on a PC right now, but this works across all platforms. I used to play PS4 and Xbox, so this button layout is by far the most superior button layout, and I'll explain why. The one we're going to be using is going to be called Bumper Jumper Tactical Flipped, and if you scroll down on the pull down menu here, you'll see Bumper Jumper Tactical, and to flip it, you can see right over here, I press R on the keyboard. For Xbox it's going to be X, and for PlayStation it's going to be square. What that does, it flips your trigger buttons and your bumper buttons. So whatever your bumper was doing, your trigger now does, and vice versa, for both sides of your controller. So the reason that we flip it is because the time it takes for you to press your button down, your right trigger, compared to the time it takes you to push your button down right bumper to fire, it's like you save a couple milliseconds. And when you're compounding everything from latency to your screen's lag to the game lag, you combine all those things, saving 3 or 4 milliseconds here and there is going to give you the slight edge over your opponent. So right bumper becomes your shoot, left bumper becomes your aim, left trigger becomes your jump and mantle, and right trigger becomes your lethal. Now, whenever you switch your controller layouts, your button presets, this is going to take you some time to get used to. And when you jump into a game, it's going to feel like it's all wrong, like you don't like it, you're going to do really bad probably with the new button layout. Give it a good week to get used to it, and then another week to get good with it. Once you're good with this Bumper Jumper Tactical Flipped, your gameplay, you're gonna improve leaps and bounds just with this. Not only because of the flipping the shoot buttons up here, but also because this button layout allows you to slide and turn and shoot all at the same time. Whereas with other layouts, you have to your thumbs have to leave the joystick to press a button and then come back. This button layout allows you to drop shot people while you're turning and aiming at the same time, and this also allows you to jump. You see people jumping around corners, turning and aiming and shooting people. If they're using a controller, this is probably the layout that they are using to do that with. So get good with this. The only downfall to this layout is that if you get into a melee battle, it's going to be pretty difficult because you have to either use your index finger to press your melee button, which is right here on both PS4 and Xbox, or you'll have to take your thumb off of the joystick and press the button, which is what we're trying to reduce, is the amount of time that your thumbs have to come off of the joysticks. So the next thing we're going to change is your horizontal and your vertical stick sensitivity. By default it's on 4. I suggest playing on 7 or 8. Now when you change this, it's going to feel like you're overcommitting or overturning things, and you're looking into the sky, it's really hard to aim. It does take some time to get used to, same as changing the button layout preset. Scrolling down to controller vibration, default it's enabled, disable that. It gives you no advantage to have your controller vibrating on you while you're sneaking around and you get shot. It vibrates and it's scaring you, and then you don't want it to mess you up, basically. Aim assist, keep it on standard. This next thing that we're going to change is huge, a big change, and most people are doing this now, but when the game first came out, a lot of people didn't know about this. If you do not have this switched, switch it, and your game mechanics will improve tremendously. As you can see here, the use reload behavior is set to tap to reload. So you tap the button to reload, and then you hold it to open doors, get in cars, open boxes. This is so slow. I suggest changing it to contextual tap. Now, you tap the reload like usual, but you can also tap it to open doors, get in vehicles, so you don't have to hold it and wait the 2 seconds that it takes for the little wheel to spin around and then the door opens finally, or you to get in a car. You just tap the reload button and you pop into vehicles, pop out of vehicles, go through doors, all that good stuff. The only downfall to this is if you tap to reload, but there's a weapon sitting right in front of you, you're gonna grab that weapon. So to avoid that from happening, holding the button always reloads. You can tap the reload if you're running through a field and you know there's no guns around you, or in some area where you know that you're not gonna pick up another gun. If you tap the reload, go ahead and tap it. But holding it will always reload, so you won't have to worry about picking up those guns on accident. The second to last thing we're gonna change is just a couple up. I skipped it over. Is the weapon mount activation. By default, it's aiming button and your melee, which is fine if you're playing on your default controls, but since we had switched our controls, it's going to be a lot slower. Change this to double tap adds. You double tap your aiming button, and which would be left bumper in this case, or L1 on PlayStation 4. You double tap that and you will snap and onto the first mountable, the closest mountable object near you, whether it be this wall or a window, whatever it is. It's very fast to do this. It's just tap tap and then you're mounted already, rather than you having to push an additional button. You're already going to aim and shoot at somebody, might as well tap it one more time and you're snapped and mounted onto a wall. Alright, the last thing we're going to change is your parachute auto deploy. On the very bottom, it's the very last thing on the controller layout. By default, it's enabled. What this means is that your parachute will open before you reach the ground. All right. If you jump out of the plane and you just dive straight down to the ground, what's going to happen is your parachute's going to automatically deploy about 20 meters from the ground. The next video is going to cover this in depth. It's going to be about parachuting and how to parachute farther and faster and reach the ground before any of your enemies, because you dropping into a hot spot or if some other team's dropping with you, it's basically the first person to grab that gun is going to have a huge advantage over the person dropping last with just a pistol. All right, so I'm going to be going over that. I'm not going to go into too much detail right now, but if it's enabled, your parachute will deploy 20 meters from the ground before you smash into the ground. Disable this. This does run the risk of your parachute not deploying and you smashing face first into the ground, so you actually have to deploy your parachute manually, no matter what. So you jump out of a plane, you're diving down, you can deploy your parachute as close to the ground as you can. You're gonna land if two people are jumping out of the plane at the exact same time, exact same trajectory. You're gonna get to the ground faster than that person just because you can deploy your parachute underneath their auto deploy. All right, so disable that and we'll go into more detail on this on the next video. All right, guys, so that's it for the competitive weapon or competitive controller layouts. If you're playing on a keyboard and mouse and you guys want to see some different setups for keyboard and mouse. There are some different variations to play around with over there. Just let me know, comment section below. Just say, hey, yeah, I'm on a PC playing with keyboard and mouse, or even on Xbox or PlayStation keyboard and mouse. Let me know that you want to see a video like this, and then I can go over those presets as well. But this is mainly for controller users, whether it be on PS or PC or PS4 or Xbox. All right, guys. Till next time. Take care.